Hey Peter, do you want to hear some trivia?
Oh, mate, I love a good game of trivia.
Guess what happens when a chook and two pelicans get together?
What's that, mate?
A clucking good time. That's right, you pelicans. The wobbly chook has jumped on board, keeping the bird presence strong. Whether you like a pale ale, brown ale, IPA, or a lager, the wobbly chook has you catered. Crafted from Yamba's finest chooks.
Better still, Mick, how do we get some wobbly chook?
That's easy, P2. Jump online at www.wobblychookbrewingco.com or pop into 26 Cole Street in the heart of Yamba.
And have a clucking good time.
Cluck out.
Always remember, don't be a mud gudgeon and drink responsibly.
Hey, P2.
Hey, mate, what's up?
Mate, now that I've got this boat here and I've got the electronics on the way, I'm going to need some fishing gear.
Mate, you can't look flash in that new rig without some new fancy fishing gear.
I know.
Mate, I can only recommend one thing. I would head over to the Darth Australia website, mate, and make yourself a little bit of a wish list and then head into your local tackle store and see if those legends can get it in. Because if there's one thing I know, mate, Darth Australia, they have it all. Whether you want a brand new rod, a nice new shiny reel, or some new line to go on it, then you're going to need some tackle, of course. They have it all. Darth Australia is your one-stop shop, and the big supporters here, the Pelicans Podcast. Hey, P1.
Yo, P2.
You know what blows me away?
What's that?
There's a bloke out there building a house with his wireless going.
Yeah.
Listen to the two Pelicans.
Really?
Why would he be doing that?
Well, he must fucking like what he's hearing.
Must be because he likes hearing shit, and that's exactly what you're going to get over here at the Two Pelicans Podcast. If you tune in each and every week from Thursday morning, it goes live at 6 a.m, unless we have some technical difficulties, Mick.
Which does happen from time to time.
But we're going to try and keep our promise from now on. So, yeah, and again, we want to thank all of you legends for tuning in each and every week on Thursday to listen to the Two Pelicans Podcast, whether it be over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Patreon.
Or Trevor Hendy Surf Club.
Look at you, wow!
Welcome back to another episode of the Two Pelicans Podcast.
So you just missed that.
Loving it.
G'day, you Pelicans.
Yeah, he was. He was sort of hung up on his
go and have a good time from there a bit later on.
Pelicans landing in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to this week's episode of the Two Pelicans Podcast. I am Joey.
I am Mick, and we are the Two Pelicans.
That's right, Mick, and we're here with some very important jobs. We're here to make fishing great once again. We're giving it a red-hot crack, but most of all, we're here to pepper your little ears, get you through that crappy old work week, Mick.
Mates, that's it. And look, I guess we'll just jump into it. So tonight we're on the old Wobbly Chook Strong Arm IPA, and if you like them strong, this one will tickle your tonsils, I can assure you.
If you like your beer like you like your men, jump onto this one. Strong. It's a I'll be honest, probably not my one I would normally grab out of the fridge, but it's quite nice. It's definitely not a session ale.
Yeah, you probably don't want to have a dozen of these in a session, but yeah, I don't mind.
No, I don't mind it.
Got a bit of kick, which from a bloke that drinks mid-strength all the time, it's not too bad.
Not too bad at all. So, yeah, shout out yet again to the Wobbly Chook down there in Yamba for their ongoing support. And as you would have heard there in the pre-rolls again, yet alone, we're keeping the lights on here at the Two Pelicans Podcast. Mate, we've got a pretty cracking episode in store tonight for you guys. We've got, towards the back end of the show, we've got something pretty cool that we've lined up. And while it might be a little bit serious, Mick, it's probably something that us as men forget a lot about. So we're going to dive that into a little bit later on. But first of all, mate, how was your weekend? What did you get up to?
Mate, I don't know. I think I need to have a coma for a bit, to be frank. I need a bit of time out. But
from what I saw, you had a bit on.
Oh, look, I'll get into that in a second. But look, spent some time down at Yamaha again. The boys have got everything with the motor and the what do you call it? The hydraulics, all the running gear is pretty much now in. Just waiting on a few back orders there from Garmin, and the wobbly chook.
Got a bit on here.
It's a wobbly pelican, but yeah. Anyhow, so that's been really going good. Shout out to Robbie and also one of his techs, Alex, which has sat down and spent some time with me over the last week or two, just nutting out the finer things like in a boat build.
Yeah,
I think people just and I'm not picking on someone like Quintrex or Stacer or Telwater, but you order it, and it comes like a particular thing. There's not too much sort of thought that once you get it there, you're like, oh, I wish that that knob was here, or this
Yeah.
thing was over here, or we did something like that. So, but look, what I would suggest that if any of the guys are looking to do something like with a station, that jump in down in there, go see Robbie in that, and then they can get onto that straight away. So when it does turn up, they can make the mods. So yeah,
Unreal. Yeah, sweet, mate. So you've
look, yeah. So from that, Andrew from the Estuary Clothing Company, he's just sent me through my shirts.
perfect.
They're pretty much going to be delivered hopefully in the next few weeks.
How
So
good's that? That's awesome, mate.
that's really good for 2025. I've had a few guys actually purchase some already, so that was really cool. But yeah, if anyone wants to purchase them, just jump onto my
We'll drop
Facebook
some pictures
Messenger.
up too when we can drop
yeah.
those out there and
Yep,
let everyone
yep.
know what they look like.
Yep, no dramas. And then
Well, hang on.
Yeah.
The big thing is, did you get Corbett written on the back or P1?
Oh, I didn't get any of that actually.
Nah, that's good because it's not my cup of tea. But if you're going to get something, P1 would look pretty cool. Anyway, you
Actually,
move forward.
I just had a call from someone there this morning, and I seen the name, and then he's just answered, "Hey, go on P1." So
Yeah.
obviously, that person's been listening. Shout out to Alex. But look, the other thing that we do, and we've been doing it now for 5 years, is the COVID Classic, and all this.
The Weezer Classic.
It's one of them things where you just do it with mates, and how it got started, and I'm going to say this now. I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's a bit like Fight Club, right? The first rule of Fight Club is we don't talk about Fight Club. But I'm just going to give a bit of insight there. A few guys would have seen us fully on flight there Saturday night from the Sports Fishing Club.
At the Brushgrove Hotel, yeah.
At the Brushgrove Hotel. Clarkie catered for us once again. But look, it's something that started probably about 5 years ago in COVID. And the idea was that we were going to fish the Urunga Flathead Classic. And unfortunately, COVID sort of banned, or they decided to can the competition, but we could still stay. So everyone had booked their accommodation. They're like, well, what do we do? Like, we're just not going to cancel it. So we done our own thing. And then from there, it's just sort of continued.
Yeah.
So I think I had a year down there. I think we had a couple of years in Yamba, and we've had a couple of years in Brushgrove. So
unreal.
Look, it's just something that we do. Some years we have a good little price pool. Other years is a bit quieter. 1 year there we had a keg, or a couple of kegs, I should say. But it's just mates getting together.
It's just a good weekend,
having a yarn.
Yeah.
Sometimes the families come. Sometimes it's a bloke thing. But fundamentally, it's just people catching up and sort of might not know a friend of a friend, but then by the end of the night, they know the friend of the friend of the friend.
Yeah,
so
100%.
And that's what it's all about is everyone getting together.
You sold the fort there, brother.
All right. Okay.
I've lost me.
Oh, no, I think they're over there. I can see them. That's all good. They're next to mine. I feel like we could drop them in a bowl and just visit sauce.
I don't want to drive that heap of shit home. Cool. So you had a pretty nice weekend.
It was. I mean, it was good for that part of it, and I got my car back, as you could see.
Yep, saw that. You're not in the TJM wrapped weapon anymore.
No, I've got my little toy back, which is good for this weekend because I'm acquired to use the Palomino #jigger.
The jigger. If you listen to the last episode, you know what the jigger is.
Jigger.
Yeah, exactly what the Pelicans are doing right now. Oh, that's cool, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, what have you been up to, Champ? I just champed you.
I'll let that slide, fellow Pelican. Mate, I had another fucking busy as week last week. I was flat stick, trying to get on top of things. It's not really happening. But to finish off the busy week, we had the Glenline Dam Lure Makers Invitational, as I mentioned.
Yep.
Much like your weekend, it is just a fun weekend to go out with your mates. I go with my mate, good mate from town, Marky, and sort of a bit of a tradition now. You know, we go twice a year for it. And look, while the fishing was tough, we still had a great time. We still caught some fish, and we gave the old wobbly chook cans a punishing.
We did, we put a thing up there on Facebook. You and a couple of fellas were having a clucking good time, so that was good.
Yeah, I shared a few around the camp and let everyone try them around, which was unreal. But just to put into perspective, I won't bang on about it too much, but just to put into perspective how tough the fishing was. So Saturday's one tournament and Sunday's one tournament. So on the Saturday, it's just there's an overall winner just for the most length, and it only goes on legal size fish. So yellow belly's 30, your cod's 60. So like they're only the fish register.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's like an overall winner, and then there's a biggest prize for each category. So the biggest yellow, biggest caddy, biggest silver, biggest cod, etc.
Yep.
So we weren't showing the prizes on the first day. We were sort of we just couldn't land. We had plenty of hookups and stuff. We just couldn't land anything. We got a couple each or whatever. It was all right. So Sunday, it's a 3-hour session, and it's a shootout session. It's just the most length wins. That's it.
Yep.
And the prize up for the grab. It was for the winner. So I was lucky enough to take away the overall winner again for the third or fourth time.
Oh, good on you.
But this shows you how tough it was. I won with one 43-centimetre yellow belly. I think there was only 3 fish landed in that morning session, and I knew it was going to be tough because the Arvo sessions were really when we were getting into them. But
what sort of just for the viewers and getting a bit of insight out of your little noggin there, why do you think that was sort of tough there? Like, was there anything that sort of displayed that? Was there water turn, water come in, temperature change? What do you think it was?
The main thing is they're dumping a heap of water out of the dam.
They're taking the water out,
for the farmers, exactly,
Yep.
And that just makes it a little unstable. The weather was stinking hot, like. I put a little reel up there over on my Insta, and like we had the bimini up. Like I would never take the bimini in a comp ever, but I knew it was going to be hot. So I had the bimini strapped on. We were cooking snags like Kranskis under the thing, having a 10. Like it was fun. It was what it's meant to be about. So no, it's a good weekend that. And if you are a budding lure maker out there, reach out. I can put you in contact for the next one. It is a bit of an invite only thing, but we take on anyone out there that shows an interest. And so yeah, that was pretty well.
So just to qualify, do you have to have a lure in a shop to qualify for that?
No. So a lot of the guys that are there,
or invited.
Yeah. So a lot of the guys there, like, don't even make lures for anyone but themselves.
Okay.
Yeah. So you just got to make lures basically. And timber, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Look, it is a really good weekend, and look forward to the March one. I'm actually going to take my young bloke in the March one. So he'll come along. Mark will still be fishing with jollops, and Ollie will make up his own fish with his jollop juniors out of our boat. So
that's it.
He was actually going to come this year, but his little mate's one of his best mates' birthdays was on the Sunday, so didn't want to miss out on that, of course. But mate, why don't we move along into a bit of sport and news? I feel. Oh, that's the wrong button. There we go.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, no, press the fucking right. But we're behind the scenes here tonight. We're back like episode 6. Shit was going wrong left, right, and centre. That's all right. We had Punjab ringing us from Delhi or somewhere telling me that my name was Mr. Perry, and we had all sorts going on. But here to say, big fella, what do you got? You got a bit of a list there.
Oh, look, we spoke about just you and I just today about the recent ABT. Now, is that at Canberra?
It was Kinchin last night or Canberra. One of them.
Anyhow.
One of them, yep.
But surprisingly, the American Roadshow turned up and pretty much contributed to first and second.
So what I'm going to say about that is obviously Wheeler fished with Timmy.
That's right. Yep.
Timmy's not a mug. Like, he knows how to fish.
No.
So Timmy and Jacob take out first place, and Carl and Gussie take out second place.
Yep.
Now, this could be a little controversial.
Here we go.
We like controversy.
Here we go.
All these blokes that sit back and say, I can make it in America, you can't.
Right.
The Americans have come over here with a fish they don't even have. Well, Carl obviously knows a thing or two about them.
Yeah.
And they have wiped the floor with us on our own species. And that's no disrespect to anyone that's there.
Yep.
But these guys just know fish. And I always talk about this. It's not about knowing a species. It's about knowing fish.
Yeah.
And they are so dialed in. The person that is the most successful fisherman is the one that fishes the most. And that Jacob, Gussie, and Carl are on the water more than the whole rest of that Barra tour, I would say. So absolute credit to them.
What I would say, I just listened to the interview that Steve Morgan done with Tim and Jacob, but just listening to Jacob about applying his craft of American bass into this realm, and What it made me think about was when we had Tommy on that show ages ago, he said there was a lot of similarities between the American bass and the barramundi. So whether they feel a little bit more comfortable or they see a similar sort of patterns that they can work, I don't know. But regardless, it's an awesome result for them guys.
Great result. I was actually talking to Timmy today. I didn't realise they were fishing tonight. I thought they had a night off, and we're actually going to get Tim and Jacob on the show tonight, but that I obviously don't want to cut into their fishing time, but I'm just going to I'm going to dangle the carrot that I'm going to try and get them on before they head home.
That'd be cool.
So yeah, definitely want to have a chat to them. And look, we've spoken to in person Carl and Gussie before, but it'd be cool to find out a little bit about Jacob. Absolutely his first time here. So no, that was a pretty cool bit of news. What else you got there, mate?
Oh, mates, on the back end of our wild Saturday night at the Brushgrove Hotel, the Clarence Valley Sports Fishing Club had their annual Bass Open, and surprises or no surprises, Cameron Hall and his old man took out first. And
on the Sunday,
on the Sunday, and a bit of a shout out because I did speak to Cameron Shaw for briefly there on Saturday. And basically they were fishing out of his old man's boat, a little runabout. So to I guess come away with a win like that is a good win.
Very and good to see the locals doing well too.
Shout out to Swano that come second.
Shout out to the
Swano, you come second again, mate.
What was he? The skid mark slinger, or what did we call him a couple of episodes ago? The Phantom Shitter. That was him.
I'm pretty sure he's blocked me.
I haven't spoken to him either. He might be off us. But that's a great result down there. And mate, also we give a little bit of a spruik on the show a couple of weeks ago in regards to the Bass Social.
So Dan Clay had that social there fortnight ago now, was it?
Fortnight ago, and he had a fantastic turnout, and he sent me a message with some results. He said, would it be okay if we played them on the show, and I think this will be pretty neat. So
why not?
We'll give it a little bit of a listen here.
Hello, Pelicans. Dan Clay here. Just ringing up to give you the Bass Social results. I'd like to firstly say thanks to everyone who turned up. Had 43 participants, which was great. It's really good turnout, and I greatly appreciate it. I'd also like to thank Bassman Spinnerbaits and Atomic and Metro Lismore for their prizes for me to give away. So to the results, Wade Spencer won with 2 fish for 83 centimetres. Then Benjamin John came in second with 82.5. Luke Cornwell come in third with 80 centimetres. And then I'd give some honourable mentions to Matt Flynn, the Walsh brothers, Brendan Rumble, and Paul Sausage Spencer. Now, he's called Sausage because he's snagged all the time, but even he managed to keep out of the trees and get 2 fish for 75 centimetres.
That's awesome.
The juniors did struggle. No juniors weighed in, but they left with prizes and done the same, just to make sure that kept everyone happy. Now, with Bassman Spinnerbaits and Atomic and Metro Lismore giving me prizes, I actually had that many prizes that I just gave stuff away at the end after the random draw because we still had stuff left over. So that's awesome. I really appreciate what Bassman Spinnerbaits do for me. They've been a supporter for me for over probably it's either 6 or 7 years now with what they give me, and there's nothing more to be said. I just appreciate them to death.
Good product.
Most of the fish today were caught on buzzbaits, which Glenn Casey was pretty happy about. I saw Glenn around the traps while I was fishing today, and Glenn would have come equal second or third himself today with 82.5, but declined to be involved with that. So,
good on you, mate.
That's pretty big of him to do that. Look, thanks again for everything. Thanks for your support, guys. Thanks heaps for mentioning me on your podcast. Greatly appreciate it. Over and out.
Now, that's fantastic. And it's also great to hear in there that sponsorship from Metro Lismore.
Yeah.
You're probably wondering why would Metro Lismore support that. Now, how do I... a gentleman that works there, Big Pato, Paddo come down the brush
yeah.
here. Big supporter of ours and a big supporter of anyone that's doing something good. So that's a feel good one there. I'm not going to mention any names here because he doesn't probably want this to be mentioned. But there was another gentleman, much like Glenn, that actually won. He he won, and he also declined because he in the position he was happy to pass it on. So hats off to you, gentlemen. You don't need naming. You know who you are, and I think to give someone that might not be right up in the sport a bit of a crack. Yeah, unreal to you, and hats off to you, gents. So, mate, that's pretty well all the news I sort of had there.
I just want to add to that, talking about Metro as doing some sort of sponsorship thing. I think talking about making fishing great again, it'll be good to see some sponsors that come in that aren't sort of fishing related like that. I think it's really good and refreshing.
Well, look at the Wobbly Chook.
Look at the Wobbly Chook.
Why would the Wobbly Chook sponsor or look after us essentially? But I guess they see a good thing and we see a good thing in them. They're a great company. So 100%. I think it's just good people getting behind good people.
That's it.
Surround yourself with good people and you'll soar like an eagle. Surround yourself with shit people and you'll be a dirty old bin chicken. Simple as that.
And just surround yourself by Pelicans, still be good.
Pelicans are good. Mate, I've got a new segment. Are we going to drop in a new segment? Here we go. Are we happy with that?
I'm mentally preparing about this. So before Joey starts, we just rock up, start setting up the gear, and he goes, "I've got a new segment." So I've got no say in this. This is all Joey's side, and then I'll try and
tell the rest of the story. He also said, "When did you think of this?" And I said, "On the car ride."
Yeah, on the car ride in.
So let's just pump a bit of music here. So my new segment is called the Pelicans Show and Tell. Now, each week I'm going to try and have something to show you guys. You probably know in one of the last episodes I had one of my cool Nella lures I wanted to show you guys. So I thought instead of bringing it into the news, maybe each week I'll try and do some show and tell.
And if I don't bring show and tell and we still have it at the shop, I'm just going to go pick up something behind me here.
I think that's great. I think that's
and
perfect.
We'll just talk about it.
That's perfect. Talk about something. I think show and tell each week will be really cool. Now,
there's heaps of stuff in this shop.
There's plenty of goodies here. Now, this one's going to be one for the nerds like me.
All right.
If you're a nerd out there and you just love fish, this is going to be one for you. I'm going to hold this up here. This is the brand new Murray Cod book, written by the one and only Stuart Rowlands. Now, this is off the back of his Cod Father book. It had a lot more to do with sort of the Easterns, the explosions between the ranges, introducing the Murrays into the eastern flowing rivers. Highly recommend if you can get your hands on a copy of that. But I am very, very excited to get my hands on this.
So this is a brand new edition, brand new book.
Brand new book, and it's signed in the front there. Enjoy. I can't actually read his writing. Enjoy the
He's
something.
A doctor. He's definitely a doctor.
He actually is. He's got a doctorate in fisheries. So enjoy the Murray Cod, Stuart Rowlands. So I've actually had the pleasure to spend some time doing some survey work along Stuart Rowlands. So I've sort of got I know him, and I'm very interested to dive into that.
And when you say survey work, are we talking fish survey work?
Correct. Yeah. When we did all...
You weren't holding a pole and saying, I've got north bearing there? Or
No, we actually fish, tagged, released over 7 or 8 years. So I probably wouldn't mind actually diving into a whole episode of that.
Yeah, right.
And getting some gents on, because that's some pretty cool data. Just quickly, we're off topic here, but from that data we gathered, in a section of river on the Jamaica River, there was a cod every metre and a half by our data.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool data to have. So, but anyway, I was very excited about the Murray Cod book from Stuart Rowlands.
What I would say, just with that, as I play with my microphone to get it a bit that way, I often wonder, and look, I'd like to probably just go into a bit more of a segment with this. I think this is a great idea because I'm curious to know, we talk about, Murray cod and then the eastern cod and how they're endangered and all the rest of it. But I'd like to really know what the numbers actually are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What sort of studies have taken place in recent times And has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? Is it the same? You know what I mean?
And I've got a little bit of that at my fingertips where we can access that, and I think that's definitely an episode there. Like,
we'll unpack that later.
Yeah, I think I won't dive into it too much, but some of it is unknown, and there's currently studies happening right now to sort of get back on top of it. So I think we'll definitely dive into that at a later time. Mate, just before we quickly move on, I did have one little thing. I'm just going to dangle this carrot probably every 3 to 4 weeks for our viewers. Back onto the news subject, my news. If you listened to episode 20, you would have heard me drop about my trip to Brazil.
Yep.
Well, I'm safe to say as of today, it looks like I have a crew member.
Oh.
And she's going ahead. She's happening. So I'm very excited. That's news to you because I hadn't told you.
No. So it's full of secrets tonight,
it's full of secrets. So it is happening. Brazil is happening now. Off the back of this.
Now, hang on. Stop. Can we ask who the crew person is?
Not just yet. I'm going to unpack that later on. Because he's 95%. When he's 100,
he's in.
He is in. He today after chatting to him, but I've dangled the carrot with him for a couple of weeks, and he come back to me, so that was really cool. But the whole point of me bringing this up is I'm going to bring you along on the planning trip, of it, I think.
Which is great. I think this is a great idea because people that want to travel overseas and on a fishing trip, I guess there's probably little things that they need to know about.
Now, you've just answered the next... You've put the next question into my mouth. We're getting good at this. This is great. So, who out there... Exactly. Who out there wants to have an episode on fishing abroad? Now, the reason is I have travelled a lot now. Different countries. I've fished in a lot of different countries, a lot of different species. I'd love to unpack that. Maybe give you some tips on some countries, some tips on packing gear. There's a certain few little things that'll make your life a lot easier. And with the planning of this Brazil trip over the next sort of 10 months, I'd love to have an episode. So let us know. Drop us a yarn. twopelicanspodcast.com at gmail.com, I should say. Let us know if that's something that would interest you, because it's probably a pretty big episode and there'd be a lot to unpack there. But off the back of that, I can guarantee you there is some funny yarn. There's some funny yarn. So, sounds good, mate. We've got a new segment, and now you found out about Brazil. So we're full of little surprises here tonight. But
any more?
Nah, that'll do for now. Well, the next one's going to be a bit of a surprise.
Next one?
Then about our topic tonight.
Oh, our topic. Look, I think I'm just going to go. Do you want to get a beer, or do you? Oh, I can talk about it.
You talk about it and intro us.
And you'll get a beer?
I'll get us a beer.
Right.
Probably not another heavy. We might surprise our viewers with maybe a mid or a light next.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Look, as fishermen, we spend obviously a lot of time out in the sun, and over the years, I've seen friends, family, and just relatively other people that I know sort of not really protect themselves in the sun. And, as fishermen, we sort of want to bring this to light. And, look, I've just gone on to the SunSmart website tonight, and just some pretty not real good stats, I'd have to say. But, look, 2 out of 3 Australians will be diagnosed in their lifetime with skin cancer. 2,000 Australians, unfortunately, die a year of skin cancer. And I think we all know that Australia is one of the highest rates of skin cancer in the world. So, and
we probably, to be honest, have one of the most outdoor lifestyles going. We're always outdoors. We're always doing stuff. And we just thought it was, I'm assuming you've already told this.
No. I've just done some snaps, but spoke more about why, I've seen family, friends not really cover up in the sun. Oh, look, we've all done it, We've all come back and gone, oh, shit, I should have wore a buff or put something on or sunscreen or whatever the case may be.
And it's something so simple, Mick.
It is.
You think I'll be right, and I've had one chopped out of me, and it's probably due to get hacked out again.
Yeah.
Out of not a very nice place. But you've mentioned family and friends. Now, a very good friend of mine, a great friend of our shows, Breaker Billy.
Yep.
He recently has gone through a pretty shitty time. He had some dramas. I'm going to let him tell him story because we're going to get him on the line. And a big shout out to Westy, Breaker Billy, for actually letting us. We had a chat to him and wanted to know if it'd be okay if we dove into this. And he's all about awareness. He wants to make everyone aware. There's some really cool stuff in here that's going to blow you away.
Yep.
The costing of some of these treatments and stuff, like
Right.
whether you have chemo, whether you have radiation. So
Mm.
we're going to get the big fella on the phone, and I really can't wait to share this story with you because it's definitely a good one, and he's definitely a good fella. So we're going to get him on the line here now.
Hello, Maroon Damn Charters.
Breaker Billy, mate, you're live here on the Two Pelicans podcast. Got old P2 here.
How you going, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks. How are you both? All right.
Good, mate. Good.
That was
good.
a great way to answer the phone. Mate, we're just giving the viewers a bit of a backstory in tonight's topic, and we mentioned that obviously living outdoors, being outside is an Aussie's main passion, whether you hunt, whether you play sports, whether you shoot fish, whatever it might be, you're always in the sun. Shoot fish.
You shoot fish.
But whatever you might do, you're always outdoors, and as humans, as men, we definitely don't look after ourselves. And I've mentioned it yourself, mate. You've been through a bit of a rough patch there over the last sort of probably 6 months or so. Mate, do you mind running us through from the beginning, and we'll pump some questions out along the way, but just sort of give us a little bit of a breakdown of how you discovered you had something wrong, mate, and we'll sort of go from there.
Well, people would argue about that I had something wrong with me for a long time, mate. But we won't get into that. That's a different story and podcast. But no, it's it ended up being like a skin cancer, and it just started out as like a scab pretty much on my top of my lip. They used to annoy me when I shaved, so I grew my beard out and my mull out and stuff, and it was like, yeah, okay. Every time you had to have a shower or something like that, you'd knock it off when you dried it, and it was red raw underneath. And you're like, oh, what's going on here? This isn't really normal. And then life kicks in. You're like, oh, it'll sort itself out. And then, before you know it, it's like, oh, no, I might get this checked out, hey, because I'm getting sick of it. It's annoying. Something's not right. So I had the skin doctor I went to. I had him check it a couple of times just because I do a 6-month check anyway. And he said, oh, no, it's all right, mate. It's all good. And he'd find a few more and love to burn them off. And that was it. And then I went in for one on my cheek. And I said, oh, mate, you got to check this lip out, man. It's just not happening. He goes, yeah, mate, yeah, I'll get onto it. When you come back for the biopsy on the other one, we'll have a look at it then. And I'm like, well, I hope this one on my cheek comes back as something, because when it's nothing, they sort of just tell you over the phone, mate, you're sweet.
Yeah.
And then you sort of don't go there. You're not forced to go back there. So the one on my cheek actually come back as a BCC. And I'm like, oh, that's good. One, I've got, I found out what it is, and I need to get rid of it. But the second one was, well, now he can do a biopsy of my lip.
Yeah.
So he went and took a chunk out of that.
I'll just stop you there. Just for the viewers, obviously you're an avid fisherman, but the day job that you do, are you sort of in the sun? Are you or in an office?
Not in the last 10 years. No, I do office fit outs now. So I'm in high rise buildings, but obviously prior to that, from leaving school, it was outdoors a lot. Yeah. So that part of my working career, I was definitely outside.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So look, continue on. So you sort of found a bit of an issue with the lip. That's right.
Yeah, so you took a nice big chunk out of that and decided to get the cauterization out there and really give it some good burning action. And you might not be able to feel it from the numbing of the needle, man, but you can definitely smell it. It goes right up your nose, and it just doesn't smell good at all. But anyway, sort of a week later, he come back and said, "Oh yeah, you've got another BCC there, mate. Bar cell carcinoma, whatever they call it." And he goes, I'm not going to touch this one. You'll have to go to a plastic surgeon. And in the back of my head, I'm going, wow, there's no way you're touching it, because he's had a crack at the back of my neck. And let's just say, the local butcher's probably got a better go at it, So then I had to, I was like, oh, plastic surgeon. Oh, hey, this is going to be fun. This is going to cost me an arm and a leg. So went and booked that. There was 3 to choose from, and I sort of did a little bit of looking, and there was one that looked pretty flash, and it was at South Brisbane, so I'll go see him. And it was more more of a beauty one. The ladies are going in there to get some special touch ups and that. And
I was
so
just about to say, did you
pretty.
get into Australia's Next Top Model after it? Or?
I hope so. No. But he's a wizard on the knife. So I went, that's where I want to be.
Yeah.
So knowing that it may cost a little bit more, but knowing that it's on my face and I was getting conscious of it, and you end up doing a good job of it.
When we say on your lip there, Westy, like it's
Yep.
on your lip. Like you sent me the photo after it was cut, and they literally just took a pizza shape out of your lip and sewed it together. Essentially,
pretty much.
Yeah.
So you basically
like on the high, it was actually on the actual lip.
it was where, let's say, like the pink part of your lip to where your skin color is, like that line there. It was on both. So yeah, when he's taking the cut out, like if you were to look at your middle finger and look at the top whole knuckle, like from your top of your finger to your first knuckle, that's the chunk that they end up taking out.
Right.
So
wow.
It wasn't just a scallop. It was literally, no, let's cut that part of your lip completely out.
Mm-hmm.
And it went up to just underside of my nostril. It's in line with, so it's just over from a nostril, but it's up that high.
Wow.
So it's quite a long scar.
Yeah. Okay.
So
and then they dissect that and to find out, whether the margins are clear of the cancer and then anything else. And then, after a week, he said, yeah, that's all good. The margins are clean, but we dissect it further to see if there's, nerval damage. And then it came back that it had just entered the nerve.
Right. So
in that chunk.
Moves through that next phase, mate. Like, what do they do from there? They've gone, okay, we've chopped it out, but we're not really that happy. What are the options they give you there next?
So, just to clarify, so we're talking that after this as well, that they're still not convinced that the cancer's been removed. Is that right?
Well, no, not clearly. So when obviously where you've got your so-called cancer, skin cancer, they go wider, like any cancer. They cut it wider, so they're talking about margins, so many mils or millimeters or whatever you want to be around it.
Yeah, okay.
So they were happy that the edge of that cut that they've taken out, so the edge of your pizza slice, it's clear. There's no cancer on any of those boundaries.
Yeah, okay.
So they say your margins are clear. So yes, they've taken the whole lot out.
Oh.
So when they dissect it further, from what I understand, is they start looking into nerves and muscular and all that kind of stuff. So the next stage was a high infiltrative carcinoma, or there was these other words, fancy words I can't even read, but that's pretty much what it was. And I started Googling some of these words, trying to find out what it meant. And pretty much meant it was very high infiltrative. So it was an aggressive muscular BCC cancer. Right. And then it said that it had touched the nerve, like we're talking about like 0.01s of mils, like with the smallest amount. And with that report, they say, well, I'm a plastic surgeon. You need to go see a radiologist. And then as soon as you hear that word, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. So look, I know, obviously at the time and probably now, and I do thank you for being transparent, but I have to ask, like, what was going through your mind when they said that? Like, it must have been tough.
Yeah, plenty of triggers there, mate. Just a very touch backstory is my mum passed away from breast cancer. And so when you're talking about radiation and chemo, if that's brought in front of me, like for me having to do with, I'm like, it just triggers straight away. I'm like, radiation, like I've seen what that does to people. Like, I'm like, oh dear. So it's still surreal at the same time, though. Yeah, you got those sort of thoughts, but you're going through the motions. You're not really comprehending what's quite going on. Okay, I'll book this in, and you go see the radiologist, and then.
But I think what I would say is that I'm glad that it sounds like you just got on top of it. You know what I mean? Like, yes and no. I guess to a point. Yeah, I got it. It's out. I'm after it. It's all good now. But initially, like the amount of times I said to my son, "Doctor, man, can you check it out? Can you check it out?" And he's had a quick look at it and like, "Oh yeah, it's all good." I'm, you always what if if he would have got that earlier, I still would have got a chunk taken out, but there's a great chance it wouldn't have gone nerval, which that means it wouldn't have had to get radiation. So, but still, I've gone through the process. I've got it done, but
you know, and then you go speak to the radiologist, and then that's when the real world starts.
So talk to us about that, mate.
Yeah.
Like, I know we've spoken about it a little bit. I guess not only was it daunting having to go in there for your first consultation, but they whacked you with a pretty hefty price, mate, of what that was going to cost you, wasn't it?
100%, mate. So you go speak to the radiologist. She's a very nice lady. And, you know, if you're on your deathbed, she's probably the lady that you want to say, yeah, you know, you'll be right, because she just had this aura about her that, you know, everything's going to be fine. You know, but I guess that's their job and whatnot, just to make you feel safe. But yeah, they were just talking about, you know, the processes of what you think they should do. Like, you don't have to do it. They said, we recommend you do it for these reasons, and they they break it down a bit, you know, and they explained it and in layman's terms too, so you can get a bit of a grasp on exactly what's going on. And then I'm like, okay, let's do it. And then I had to wait a little bit, and the nurse comes out and she's like, oh, we'll have to talk about payment, you know, how much it costs. So I'm like, oh, yeah, here I am in the brand new Springfield Lakes Icon Cancer Clinic. I'm like, yeah, okay, I need to recoup some money back for this hospital.
I'm about to pay for a car park with this.
Yeah. Exactly right. Well, I give you free parking. I'll give you that. So that's all right. So yeah, we sit down and the lady throws out, you know, this paperwork, and she sort of spins it around, and I'm so used to looking at like an invoice, and I'm looking at the bottom number, and I damn near fell off my chair. I was like, holy shit, like it was 30 grand. Wow. Like, and some change. And I was like, bloody hell. But then I looked at the top of the page, and there's big bold writing highlighted, and it gives you a price. And that initial price, I think it was like, I don't know, say 3,300 something bucks. And I went, oh, is that like each time I come, or, you know, your brain starts cranking on, but then they explain like what it costs and a breakdown. So just quickly, the breakdown was like, okay, your first visit's going to cost, I think it was like $6,500 or some shit. But like Medicare will rebate you a large chunk of that back.
Yeah, okay.
But you've got to have the money to spend it.
Pay it. Yeah,
100%. There was another payment scheme, but that payment scheme was very dodgy, where they'll pay it, like the Icon place will pay it for you, and then the rebate comes back into your bank, and they will take it out of your bank when it hits it, but then you've still got a weekly, like a direct debit. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's clunky, because you know, this big chunk of rebate comes back of like $6,000 or something. You're like, oh yeah, I might just go try and double that up down the old slabs.
Yeah,
you know
yeah, 100%. You know, and it's funny. It's funny you should say that, because all my life I've done private health cover and extras, and then my young fella had to have a procedure done with his mouth, and anyhow, look, what I would say was the hospital thing and all that was good. Like, it worked out good, but all in that there was extras, and they have all these coding for the extras, and a lot of them we didn't qualify for, and it really pissed me off that I'd spent all this money on extras through my years, and we're only getting a couple $100 back. So I fling that in the end, and now I just have my own little extra thing in another bank account somewhere. But
that's right. You know, people would get caught out so easy with that, and you know, you got to go through a process to learn about it first. But so it was like the first time I went there, I didn't even get treatment. It was okay. Yeah, this is what's going to happen. What we need to do is we need to go get you this mask. Yeah, I sent Joey a picture of it. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a plastic mask. It's almost like bigger holes in a fly screen type of deal, and what they do is they heat it up in an oven. You lay down on this bed that's a duplicate of what you're going to be in. You got this little neck support, and then they just throw this heat. It's like a square rectangle sheet that they throw over your face, and it's got like a frame around three sides of it, and actually clicks onto the bed, like it snaps into the bed.
Wow!
So it's like a carbon fiber bed.
Yeah,
you're going nowhere, and it's that tight. It was full on, and they needed to make a wax molding for my mouth to separate my top lip and bottom lip, so they wouldn't fry the bottom lip. They would, potentially just get the top lip.
Yeah.
So I can't even hold like a pencil in my mouth for more than 30 seconds, and I'm gagging. Like I'd be really bad if I was on the other side of the fence. But so I had to say, look, I'll try it, and they've got this mask over my face. This is a quick yarn. So they put it over my face, and they've clipped it in, and they put ice packs on it to help, get the plastic setting quicker. And I'm there, and I'm like, I've got to hold on to this a little bit longer. Like, and I'm like ready to gag, and I'm like, just all shit's going on. My legs are starting to shake and tremble, and I'm like, move my arms, and I just bust out of this thing, and I'm like, yeah, no, this is not happening. You've got to come up with a different way of doing this wax mold. I cannot hold something on my tongue for that long, because it was like they've cut like a syringe. They've cut the tube of the syringe and put this big wax molding around it, thinking I can just hold that in my mouth. Yeah, right. That's not happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, we changed. It was like a big round like cigar like thing that you had to hold. So I was like, nah, I've got to have something that only just separates my teeth, but pushes my lips apart, and just a bit of wax behind the back, because the whole idea is you've got to be able to bite on it, and it's got to be duplicated every single time in the exact same position, and that's where the mask comes in. So they did that. They got the mask right, finally, and then they go up and you go to like the big CT scanning where you sort of sit in that big thing that goes around you. And what they do with that is they line up the lasers, they do all these little stickers and draw lines on the mask so they can get the crosshairs on it so they can zap you where they need to. But at the same time, they do a mapping with that CT scan as well. And what it does is when you actually go and sit or lay down for your treatment, it's like programmed. It's like your CNC machine. Like you've got details on there on the shape that needs to be nailed, pretty much. So
that's cool. That's cool. So we'll skip forward a little bit. You've got all that done. How long did the treatment go for, mate? I know you were going practically nearly every day there.
Yeah. So just for the listeners and viewers, like they wanted to hit me 25 times, and it was 8 minutes every time, and it was Monday to Friday. Yeah. So every day, Monday to Friday, you'd go there. You'd have the weekend off, unless there was a maintenance day during the week, and then they would kick everyone onto a Saturday. Wow. So basically, Monday to Friday. After work, I made it. It's on the way home. But yeah, you would be in the room for 15 minutes, but the treatment itself was 8 minutes. Yeah. So it's reason. First couple of times seemed long, but then after that, like on one of them, I almost fell asleep, like because it does make you a bit tired, like. After like 2 weeks of it, you start getting the effects. So
yeah, and look, I just wanted to touch on that. Like, what were some of the effects like, and how did that knock you around?
So the first ones, they tell you straight away, like you're not going to get any physical signs of the effects for like after at least 10 treatments. Right. And I'm like, okay, no worries. But what I'd notice is literally like straight afterwards, on my way home, I'd start getting like a bit of a headache. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, that might be just that day. Well, the next day it happened. So then I'm like, oh, no, I don't like this. So I would, before I walked in there, I'd have a Panadol and Nurofen, knowing that I'll have something on the way home. Like that only lasted for 2 weeks. But then it's almost like a flick of a switch. Like it was day 9, day 10, and it's starting to get red. I'm starting to just get signs of like discomfort in my mouth, which they later on turned into like ulcers, top and bottom lip, and were very long to a point like throughout it, like I couldn't eat properly. I was drinking through a straw, couldn't drink anything out of a bottle or a cup. It had to be through a straw, and it was all on the left-hand side because the right-hand side was getting treated. So that was happening. Food, I tried to keep as solid as possible because they don't want you to lose weight. They want you to keep your weight on. So I'm having like yogurt satchels, in the morning for breakfast. And then lunch was like, there was a cafe down below where I was working. I was getting lasagna, and I'm like cutting it up on this fork, and I'm trying to literally jam this fork past my teeth. Anything I can get on my fork that's soft through my teeth that I could only just open, I would sort of like enough to sort of crush, not really chew, but sort of crush and swallow. So it was pastas. Yeah. And then that causes issues because you start trying to shit bricks pretty much. And you're like, I'm not getting fiber. So then you're like, oh, I need to take some supplements. So then I'm starting to take Metamucil. Then I'm taking like Sustagen and shit like that just to get the stuff that I'm not eating back in my diet to help me better. But yeah, you get a bit tired. Tiredness was definitely one. I didn't really lose too much appetite. It was just the fact that my mouth was so bloody sore, man. And like, it was hard to talk there at the stage where I couldn't open my jaw. It was just too sore, and I was starting to get a big scab going on with my lip where they're really blasting it. And then I just started getting like these, I don't know, it just looked like real like sores all over my face, and it was just all the dead skin cells coming up to the surface, and that was just yuck, man. Like going to work in the public in the middle of Brisbane, man, like very self-conscious of like people staring at you because you look like a crackhead's been picking your face on.
From Ippy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like I live in Ipswich, but yeah, you'll pass down here, but in Brisbane's a bit different. No, it's but yeah, so the side effects, yes, as well as like mental as well, because it's just like I look gross. Like people looking at me, you can't open your mouth proper. You're trying to talk. It's just it was really shit, to be honest.
And it probably brings on like another question that I had, like how is the benefit of having a good support network around you through this process?
Oh, most definitely, mate. That is just people just checking in you because you're going through that shit and you're sort of like, one, you don't want to really talk too much, but you sort of just bury yourself into your little hole, But you got guys, like the dude that's sitting next to you and a few other mates. They know who they are. They check in you and you talk to them, and that does, man. You get back into chatting and seeing how you're going. You get to get stuff like you're venting out like the shit you're going through. Like you get to talk to someone that's willing to listen,
And that probably ties into the back of what Simon said when he went through his accident. Like just you just picking up that phone and having a quick little yarn, like. And you were at work most of the time when I'd call you, which is like a normal daily phone call routine. But it was just to check in. How are you? Yeah, all good. And that was sort of you didn't need to really talk about it, so to speak.
Well, that's it, mate. Everyone's like having a good yarn with your mate, like close mates. And Simon was one of those guys that you check in all the time, which was really good, and yourself. It's really a really shit process to go through. Like by all means, man, like throwing it out there, there is a lot more people out there doing it worse than what I had to. I will admit that. Like
100%.
I'm there and I'm young, and you're looking at all these old people and like I had 25 treatments, and yes, it was on my face and it's supposed to be pretty intense on your face, but you've got these old ladies and men, like some of these men were getting 39 hits of 15 minutes of this radiation. Knowing what it did to my face, I'd hate to know what it was doing to them. Like that's crazy, man. I'm young, my body's rejuvenating a lot quicker than old people, and
I think that's the thing too. Like there's obviously a lot of marketing campaigns around this sort of thing now, but I was just saying before we come onto the show that we still have one of the highest rates in the world. So but obviously back then, if there's a lot of people going in there that are in their 70s, whatever now. I mean, it wasn't really a huge thing back then. But look, just moving on from that, has this changed any thoughts or outlooks on life for you personally?
Well, yes, it has, because obviously most of your skin damage is done like prior years, like going back a fair few years, and there's a couple of things I can pinpoint, like the one on back my neck because my tournament jersey that I was wearing didn't have a collar or that, and my buff didn't cover it. But like I'd been wrapping up pretty decently over the last sort of 10 years of like tournament fishing and stuff like that. So I thought I was doing good, but I think it's just, when you're out on the weekend, just out in the yard, like it's a bit of skin damage there and then. So I am sort of wearing the big floppy hat, and I am throwing on some of the old sort of fishing shirts with hoods on, when I'm mucking around with the kids and I'm trying to push sun safety on the kids, and kids just love getting out and running around, but you get in the shade or just stand in the shade, like trying to be a little bit more sun savvy, if you know what I mean.
And look, I had a grandfather who's passed now, but he was quite active out in the sun, and he had a lot burn off him over the years, just because it wasn't well documented back then.
Exactly right.
But
and I can relate to you, Wesley, there 100%. Like that last sort of 5 to 8 years, or definitely like the big hats. I wear a fishing shirt everywhere. I wear a singlet a fair bit now, but not like when I'm out and about, sort of thing, just around the house and that. But I think the damage is done. I remember like 10 years of working on tin roofs all day, singlets on. You'd be burned every day peeling. Eventually, that's got a bite in the backside. So I think it's just a shout out to any young fella out there. I think when you say to yourself, "Oh, she'll be right," well, most likely it's probably not going to be.
Yeah.
No, exactly right.
And I hope my 18-year-old will listen to this episode. So.
Yeah, no, I can send him some photos, photos of that radiation machine, because I had to laugh. One of the guys in there, like, beautiful stuff, and there a lot of young people in there doing it, and this gentleman's like he was starting to get really full on, like it was hurting putting the mask on and putting the mouthpiece on, and he's like, yeah, man, this is not snake oil, this is radiation, this is real. And I just went, yeah, no shit, like. And he kept saying, he's like, "Is how you going? You know, they always check on you, always ask questions." And I said, "Yeah, man, it's starting to hurt here." He goes, "I'll just let you know, it's going to get worse." And you're like, "Wow, okay." Yeah. And then the effects after you've done your treatment, you finish your treatment, done your last one, and you think, "Oh yeah, this is cool," but they do tell you, like, it delayed the side effects. Well, the side effects are going to kick on for potentially another 2 weeks after your treatment. And I was doing everything they tell you. They tell you to put these particular creams on. They tell you to do what you can with your skin. And I followed it to a T, maybe put a bit of extra cream on or whatever it was. And within like a week, man, it was like you could see it starting to heal. Yeah. And then once it started, it was crazy, man. It was like, you know, every day it was big difference. And now I'm 4 weeks off. And all I've really gotten now is it's just a bit of pigment, like it's just a bit red.
Yeah. Which is a good result out of that.
Yeah, but and also I don't have to shave a mustache anymore, and I don't have any kind of hairs in my nose, so I don't have the big grandpa sticking out hairs anymore. Yeah, okay. So I guess that's one good thing.
And that was obviously the effect of the radiation, right?
Yeah, it was reflecting to another effect. But they did say you're going to lose your hair, so I docked off my whole beard. If anyone knows who I am, I've rocked the beard for the last 8 years, and
I'm rocking the mo. I'm rocking the mo for you this month, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Well, I can't grow one, so you may as well have one.
With the dirty Sanchez, I looks like a sex pest, but I'm all right.
Mate, we're probably coming to an end, but look, what would you say to the listeners about getting checked out?
Do it, but it's easy enough to say, yeah, go do it. Mm-hmm. But just I want to express, like, if you're going to do it, you may as well do it properly. Do it once, do it right. Yep. So don't just go to just the average skin doctor or something like that. Go to like a dermatologist or someone like really specialized
in, like a skin clinic.
That's a great piece of advice. Yep.
Oh, dude, like the one I went to was just called a sun doctor, and I thought it was a mole scan to start with, and then it turned into a skin doctor, and I thought I was doing the right thing. But they're finding things, but then you talk to more people as you do because your face is half burnt off, and they're like, oh, yeah, I go see this person. And you talk to another person, you're like, I go see this. So I went out of my way, and one of my local GP centres up where I live, one of the guys in there specialised. I went to his profile. Most of the doctors, you can go and see their profile and see what they specialise in. This guy specialises in skin cancers, not just sun checks, like skin cancers. Yeah. So he is my now go-to skin doctor.
Yeah.
Well, mate, we're probably going to leave things there. I've cut him off.
Yeah, cut me off. Yep. But look, we will wrap it up. But look, it's probably just a good opportunity. Now, I've seen that recently you're starting to bang out some YouTube. Do you want to give the listeners you give yourself a bit of a plug there? Where that what that YouTube channel is?
Yeah, it's easy way to do it is just at Charles West 1.
Yep.
And what they'll find on that is I do a lot of stuff for Lowrance. So anyone that's got Lowrance units, there's some tutorials and how to do. And then and I love my bass fishing. So there's a fair few bass. You know, there's some that are like breakdowns of the rods and reels I use, techniques. You know, a bit of jerk baiting and stuff like that. So anyone interested in that kind of stuff, jump over.
Champion.
Cheers for that.
Because you had to have a number one after Charles West. Is there an imposter out there? Is there? Wouldn't let you have the Charles West.
Well, I wanted to be the number one, but yeah, there is actually. If you just go into YouTube and type in Charles West, there's an Asian gangster rapper, man, I think it is, and you're pretty sure
he's Kanye's brother.
Yeah,
that's exactly. I'm like, I never knew I rapped and I was from Asia, but yeah, that's cool. I dig that.
Mate, look, I honestly do appreciate you jumping on. And
so
while it was a little bit of a serious episode, I think it's something that us as men overlook. And if Yeah,
or
fishermen.
anglers in general.
And I think if
Right.
a fellow angler
Yep.
can tell you to pull your head in and go and get a check, they might
Mm.
listen to you, mate, instead of us.
Oh, that's it, mate. You guys have got a great platform, man. You've got a lot of listeners that, some people fish, some people just like to hear about fishing, and work outside. So most definitely, man, it's something that needs to be brought to, we're stubborn. We don't like doing things and getting things checked, but just at least go and do it once, because you probably haven't got one done, or it's been a while since you've had one done. And yeah.
That's awesome, mate. Well, yet again, thank you very much, Breaker
cheers,
Billy,
mate.
and we will catch you, no doubt, on a episode in the near future.
No worries. Break a Billy out.
Thanks, mate.
See you, gents.
See you, mate.
Bye.
Mate, that was unreal. That was a great insight there, and a
Yeah.
pretty in-depth one too. You know,
Yeah.
it was shout out to Westy for going so in deep there, because some of that stuff is pretty personal.
It is.
You know?
It is quite personal. And look, I had some questions written down, and part of me didn't really want to ask them, but I felt like that we had to ask them, because I want the viewers to really understand that by not getting checks or being son stupid, that and Westy even said, like, the last 10 years he sort of tried to do the right thing.
Yeah, a little too late.
But
sometimes,
this is about at a younger age, and this is about for the older listeners listening to think about their kids and how they're covering up. Because automatically it sort of thought about my 18-year-old boy, right?
Yeah.
Because he works outside, he's a scaffy, and I imagine they'd have their shirts off a fair bit, what I mean? So it just makes me sort of think twice, and I'm going to make him listen to this.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it has a little bit, like, surely the schooling and the education system has something to account for here, because instead of teaching them about all this other shit and bull crap that they get taught, primary school is probably the time in those last couple of years of primary school to really drive this home.
I think it's pretty good these days. Like, I know there's a lot of places now have a no hat, no play policy.
Correct. Yeah.
But look, I think from schools to parents to sporting communities, sport's a massive one.
Yeah. For sure.
Like, for example, I'm not picking on netballers, but they don't wear hats or that sort of stuff. And I know they're only out on the court for probably an hour or so, but you do that a couple of times a week and all the rest of it. Like, it could be an issue.
100%, mate. But no, huge shout out there to Westy. Do really appreciate that. And well, we're having a few little glitches over here on our Patreon.
We've got Steady Eddie holding the
I don't know the camera's just shit himself. You're going to still see it. Shout out to Patreon.
I think because we're wobbling these around, like, it just had a meltdown.
It's like there's an earthquake, and it only cut in halfway through Billy's
I thought it was a bit
yarn.
like the Austin Powers when he starts doing their moves and then all the bots go all crazy because it's just too sexy. I thought that's what was going on.
I don't know what's going on there, but
right,
there's a bit on, but it's all right because they can still see us.
They can.
The whole two people over there can see us.
Yep.
But mate, I'm going to let everyone down this week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if I have a mud gudgeon.
No.
But in replace of the mud gudgeon, this is what I'm going to hit you with this week. I'm going to put a positive mud gudgeon out there for each and every one of our listeners, and I want you to do this. If you haven't already, I want you to go and do your local skin doctor or wherever you may have access to. I want you to go in there into the next couple of weeks, and I want you to make an appointment and book in.
Yeah.
That's the positive mud gudgeon of the week, and we want you to let us know if you're comfortable. Ring in your yarns. It's over at the Two Pelicans Podcast at gmail.com. Let us know if you found anything. If you've been neglectful, let us know, because this is a topic. We're here to make fishing great once again.
That's right.
And we can only do that with lots of fishermen.
That's right.
So hang in there, go and get your check. But I think
healthy fishermen as well.
Healthy fishermen, 100%.
Or anglers or fisherwomen.
Fisherwomen. What did I say at the episode 20? I think I said fullers and fullettes. So we could run with that. But mate, before we finish up, I have a funny little one here. I've been saving this little one up.
So hang on, is this someone's yarn or is this
No, it's something I've found over on good old Insta. Now, it's a bit of a definition of fishing, so stick with us here. It just goes for a little minute, but I reckon I thought this was pretty good, so hang on to your hats here.
The charm of fishing is that it is the pursuit of what is elusive yet attainable, a perpetual series of occasions for hope. perpetual occasions for hope.
Yeah, no doubt, right?
And I thought to myself,
there's so much hope in fishing.
That's right. I mean, I thought to myself, that's it. You go out in the morning, you hope it's not raining. You hope there's no thunder and lightning. You hope you've got your lunch packed. You hope the boat will start. You hope the guy you're going to fish with is going to be on time. You hope you don't get seasick.
Oh, man. You almost think, well, I'm not going to pick up fishing with so much hope involved.
There's so much hope. You hope that Andy catches a fish, but you hope that Bob's fish is bigger than
I thought that was really cool. There's a couple of old fellas there, a couple of old codgers. Shout out to the Millhouse podcast. They put that one up. But I thought that was pretty cool. And how relatable is that? I hope the car doesn't break down. I hope that the tide's good. Like, it's so relatable.
I think that's fishing though, isn't it? There's so many variables, and we talk about the little things like make sure your knots are right and all that, but then you can have astronomical go bads like you didn't put the bungs in, or the motor broke down, or whatever the case may be. That you sort of there is a lot of hope in fishing, and then that was really good. That's in my head a bit.
I really enjoyed that one when I heard that, and for me, and probably relatable for a lot of people, I hope my wife says yes, she can go. They left that one out. But look, here at the back end of the show, we've been enjoying the Yamba Ale Wobbly Chook, a chicken great beer, and may I say, I think this is my favourite. I really enjoyed that.
The old Yamba Ale,
honestly enjoyed that. The Cluckin' Good Mid Ale or whatever it's called. The Cluckin'.
Yeah, look, I'll have to be honest with you. Like, I've had a few Cluckin' Mids over the couple of years, so that is my poison. But
if I was a session man, I'm having a session. It's going to be the Cluckin' Mid. But to be honest, that Yamba Ale, it's a top one, and 4.6%. You're not going to blow your socks off. So, mate, I think we're going to wrap things up there.
No, that was really good tonight. Look, and once again, I'm just going to keep banging on about what Westy and Joey said. Before we go, like the guy said, go get tested. Don't be a mud gudgeon. Just go do it.
Do it.
Yep.
And mate, we might even go and do it because I know I'm well overdue.
I reckon I'm nearly due.
We might even try and tee something up. We might even try and film some content on it. We might even try and film something for our Patreon. Us in our undies getting our checks. If the doctor's really okay with that, because the more awareness at the end of the day, mate, that's out there about this, the less people that are going to go through what Westy had. And like Westy said, he knows that there's so many people out there a lot worse off than him.
That's right.
But the other thing is, Westy's young. He's got a lovely wife and 4 lovely kids. So he's got a lot to live for. His life in front of him. And lucky they got onto that when they did. But for our listeners, don't forget we have our competition currently running over on Patreon. Head over Patreon, throw your $3. You can see us doing breakdancing here tonight because the camera's having a little willy. But we don't care because we have got the old Patreon on point at the present for you guys. $3 a month is going to put you in the running for $140 plus prize pack of dollar. As I previously mentioned, Mick, first in best dress, you win the first pack, and you're going to tell me what you want in that pack. So
that's unreal. And once again, thanks to Dollar for doing that. This is a great opportunity. $3 a month into $140 prize pack. It doesn't get any better than that.
And may I say, this is another little surprise. All the gear's arrived. I've got it currently.
All right.
And I've gone through it, and there's some very, very nice stuff in there. Shout out to Dollar, shout out to the Wobbly Chook, shout out to each and every one of you weapons that are supporting us each and every week. We hope that we're keeping you entertained. We hope we're doing our job, keeping up our end of the bargain. Let us know. We want you to let us know what you want to hear next.
Are we making fishing great again?
Are we? That's a great poll. We might put that up as a poll. Are we, or are we just talking smack? And yet again, let us know at our email what you want to hear about. And more importantly, do you want to hear a Fishing Abroad episode? All my go-bads about travelling, overseas fishing, the time that I blew up 2 fishing rods on a $1,000 fishing charter in the first hour. Do you want to hear about that stuff? Let us know. Yet again, you guys, you legends, you weapons, and you fellow Pelicans have been listening to the 2 Pelicans Podcast. So I'm Joey.
I'm Mick, and we are the 2 Pelicans.
We'll catch us next week, legends. Yee!